Actually, what my dad used to always say as well is he was on the bus of life. So like he did things. He jumped at opportunities. Didn't, if he could financially do it, he would do it. He would help a lot of people financially. Like he was a real giving person. So get on the bus, like, because life, like the bus, if you don't like, get on the bus is going to pass. And
bus of living?
Yeah, the bus of life, we call it.
You also have another family motto.
Inch by inch?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, well done. Seriously, well done.
Incredible research.
Yeah, like inch by inch, that's another thing.
Welcome to the Funny in Failure podcast, a podcast that celebrates failure and shines the light on the emotional side of comedy and life with yours truly, Michael Kahan. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Today's chat was a lot of fun. It was great to connect with Wayde and Danny, better known as Dos and D. We cover a lot in this chat. We speak about their journey, the hustle, the challenges they've faced, and the lessons they've learned along the way. From losing a father to navigating financial hardships, it was inspiring to hear how they've turned these difficult experiences into motivation to create positive change and pursue their goals. They're a fantastic team full of banter, honesty, and great energy, making this a really fun chat. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. Dos and D, or Wayde Custerson and Danny Schuller, are content creators and hosts of the popular podcast The Dos and D Show. With over 300 episodes to their name, they are one of Australia's largest entertainment podcasts and have spoken with some of the biggest names in sports, business, music, entertainment, and just about every industry you can imagine. Their tag, here to entertain and inspire, real chats with epic people. We chat about creating a media empire, touring overseas, behind the scenes, family hardships, their drive and vision, lessons from their father, burnout, the bus of life, collaboration, going to the next level, plus plenty more. Before we get into this epic chat, I'd love it if you would share the podcast around, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. It really helps the podcast grow and helps ensure I can lock in amazing guests like this one. Okay, cool. Thanks so much. Let's get into it. I was thinking about this before. You guys just did, or more recently, a tour in America. Can you tell me about that? That is so cool.
Go for it, Dossie.
Hey, oh gosh, this is also the other issue. Whenever we get asked questions, we look at each other. Who's going to answer first?
Yeah. Do I just point at each one?
Yeah, no, you, me.
Actually, just I know who's who, but just say your full name and who's Dos and D, because it's very hard.
So Dos and D, I'm Dos. My real name's Wayde.
Not to be confused with Wayne, too.
I get called Wayne a lot.
I go by Danny, but I'm D, and unfortunately the nickname is just the first letter of my first name. It's nothing too exciting. Waydos actually rolls off the tongue, but D is just, it's not even really my nickname. It has become my nickname now, but it wasn't really until we started this thing. So,
and you can get Dos with like hey Dos, K Dos. There's lots of Doses out there.
Yeah.
But America, we're kind of getting distracted there. We've always just wanted to, we both love America. We've traveled there lots. Like Dee's done a lot of travel over there, just like out of leisure. I've been over a few times, and in this industry, it's just that's where the big players play, and that's where all the biggest names are. And just I don't know. We just thought, I wonder if we could get a big name over there, and we managed to land a couple.
More than a couple, it looks like.
Sent a couple of emails, and when one of them said yes, we were like, let's just do it. So we went and found the sponsorship money to then get over and bring our videographer, and we did 12 days, 9 flights, six cities, and then 8 interviews. So it was a busy 12 days.
Yeah.
And enjoyable?
Oh, very enjoyable. We, like Dos said, we had a 6-month kind of run up to actually go and fund it. That's kind of what we do. So I'm sure we'll talk a bit about that later on. But we obviously run a independent media company, so we fund everything ourselves. So when the opportunity to go over there came about, we gave ourselves 6 months. We were able to get the money and then go and do it. But I think for us, it was a big point of difference. Like we're talking about off air, Michael. We like to, as best we can, do our shows in person. It's not always possible, but if we can, we do. So, and like you said, there's a lot of overlap here in Melbourne, which is really positive, but at the same time, we want to set ourselves, above. And for us to be able to do that is to kind of go and get, like we call ourselves an entertainment show. It's a variety. We have a lot of different guests. So to go and kind of expand outside of the AFL space or or Melbourne comedy scene space or Melbourne media space and go into a bit more of an international opportunity. I mean, it's funny, the numbers don't necessarily blow up massively, but what it does is you think about the compound effect. So over many years, if we can go and you've been able to do this with your show, but over many years go and get those names, that when we kind of do start appearing over and over in that American algorithm as an example, then we can actually build a real audience over there too. So it's a long play, but and it looks good on the resume to have some of these names where people go, how the hell did you get this person? It's, well, yeah, we're able to do it.
I've got so many questions on this. Does it excite you when someone goes, you had so-and-so, and it might not even be a person you've thought about, but just knowing that someone was so inspired that you had someone else, how does that feel?
I reckon I go through phases because it's just become, like, we've turned our friendship into a business.
Yeah.
So we've monetized our
We've
friendship.
monetized our friendship, yeah. Not through OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
But so there comes like moments where, this is me personally, where I don't get overawed or kind of starstruck, because it's just become, we just have to do it. We'll go and find someone, we'll get them in the studio. They're all human beings just like us. But yeah, they're, when someone does sometimes say like, oh God, you've interviewed Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
You go, I genuinely, there's a part of me that still doesn't feel like we did do that.
Yeah.
Like it's all still a bit of a blur. Like, and you're so focused on the next guest. Like that's the other part is, I'm sure you know this, is when you're trying to put out content consistently, especially in an interview format, once you do the interview, that interview's done. And then you got to move to the next one. And we batch. So we do 3 to 4 interviews in one day. So it's not like we're just doing one a week and we move on to the next week. We actually have to move on within 20 minutes or 15 minutes of the shoot day and go, okay, we've just interviewed a comedian. Okay, the AFL player's walked in the door. Yeah. All right, now we need to interview the AFL player or the, musician or whoever. So we're pretty quick to which just sucks because you also want to celebrate your wins and get excited about and reflect and,
Are you able, do you guys discuss at the end of the day? I think you guys used to live with each other. I'm not sure if you still do.
Not anymore.
Do you still do you have any little milestones or things you do to celebrate, or is it purely onto the next one?
It's for us. It's pretty much on to the next one. It sucks because there's so many. It's rare that we do these sorts of things, like going on another podcast or fortunate enough to go on radio and got a half an hour thing with 3AW, and it was a good chance to actually reflect because you don't sit back and.
Yeah.
For us, this sounds horrible, but because we're still running a business, we have staff, we have overheads, we've got our own pressures is probably the wrong word, but our own goals, financial goals that we're trying to achieve. I don't want to say we're money focused because that has a negative connotation, but from a business point of view, doing the podcast interviews is part of it, but we have to go then and sell it because we've got bills to pay. So most of our conversations actually revolve around finances and cash flow
and the business side.
Yeah, it's people don't quite understand that behind our brand, it's actually set up. If you went in and had a look, it's set up like a business, and most people really go, "Wow, I didn't understand that." They think, "Oh, you get a brand deal, or you get a partner, and then that's how it all pays for itself." We still have to do our accounts and the tax and the Monday
payroll,
and the Monday review meetings and everything that we do as a business should. We're trying to kind of balance this really fun career that we love so much, and then the seriousness of a business, and trying to keep it afloat and continue to grow.
And also, I will add to that, you guys are high integrity with your guests, and you have a lot of fun and you play with them. It seems like you really love it in the moment. And then obviously you've got all that other stuff. What led to the creation of the production company?
Well, the production company is one element that we were just forced to do. So I don't know if you know about so Dawson D itself is like a production.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll rewind a bit. Maybe 3 years ago when the show, was still very, we were 3 years in. So it wasn't infancy, but it was a real difficult time because
the audience wasn't there.
The audience wasn't there. Yep. The following wasn't there. We were still chasing that dream of wanting to do this and get bigger guests and keep, growing our audience and maybe bring on some partners. And we had a few here and there that were here's $1,000, we'll sponsor one episode, or here's $500, but that's not like, that's just, and then you'd use that money to like book a studio, or, and all the money would just go straight back into the actual brand. So at the time, 3 years ago, we were like, well, how do we make some money to like do this? And we started a production company, which was, we would actually go out to businesses with all our podcast gear, and we would be, we would do the A to Z that we've done for ourselves, for consultants, for business advisors, for mortgage brokers, for real estate agents, for healthcare businesses, whatever it is, for law firms, and then we were able to generate some clients through that, and we would just, we would basically run their own podcast, turn that into social media content, and that kind of started the production company.
Yep.
Whereas now we've only got like a couple of clients within that, and we're solely now, because of the growth of the show, we've now been able to move across to the brand and the show.
How does that feel hearing that?
It feels incredible. I mean, so what happened, again, going behind the curtain of our business at the start of this year, we're able to get an advisor into our business that overlooks everything. So, which is an external person that's not in the day-to-day, but looks at everything very black and white and sees opportunities. And we went into that initial meeting or consultation thinking, okay, this is how we're going to scale this media company. Our intention was, let's grow it and then sell it one day. That was our thought process. And she came in and straight away said, look, are you super passionate about it? No. Do you love working in it? No. Does it have opportunity to make money? Yes. But then she said, let's scale out both sides. Let's scale out your brand. Let's scale out the media company, and where you're actually going to make more profit. In the end, it was in the brand. And she said, well, if you're not passionate about this, let's get rid of it. Because what if you go all in together, you go completely all in on this brand, you've got a team that can still service the existing clients. And that's what we've done. And then in those, it's not even been 6 months, it's probably been like 4 months. In that time frame, everything's shot up in terms of views and downloads.
Whoa.
And
just
then
by making that decision.
And it allows us flexibility. So we've been able to do a lot more traveling. So we were over in Adelaide for Gather Round, which we got sent there by a brand. We went to Hobart a week after that to interview Matthew Wayde, which that came out this week, Australian cricketer. Those kind of opportunities, we would have to move a lot around back in the day to make it happen, because either we're working other jobs or we had existing working with our clients. Now we can go, yes, we can say yes, we can jump and do things. And what we're trying to create is a lot of heat within the brand, make it really, at the moment, it feels very, very kind of relevant, and we want to capitalize while it's still relevant, because in this industry, it's hard to stay
long term.
So for us to be able to have that flexibility allows us to come and, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, even come and do your show. Back in the day, it wasn't just, these are the time slots and can we fit it in? We'd have to work around a myriad of things.
Interesting.
So that's helped a lot. And it's funny, as scary as it is, and as many risks as there are in this, things are growing very quickly now, which is great. Yeah.
What a great story. And I love that you as you're pursuing the podcast Dos & D brand, you're trying different things. I believe you had different jobs as well. But what about that moment where you're like, we're going to go basically 100% into this? That would be very scary. What came up with that? What actually made you go, we're going to do it? Because sometimes we always like a little bit of money on the side. There's a lot of pressures. You said payroll.
D was pretty much full time in the business. Like, we've also had to sacrifice. Like, it's not like we're getting paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars to just like do what we love. Like, we've had to sacrifice to do it, because we see the long term vision of it as well.
Nice.
But yeah, there was probably a point where I got made redundant about like 6 months ago. But I was working like permanent part time somewhere else.
And this was in media as well?
In marketing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I remember like we were having conversations, me and D at the time, around, I'm balancing this and D's doing a lot of the work, and like, we're getting opportunities, but we're having to maybe say no sometimes because I'm doing other things. But at the same time, we're also two humans with personal goals too. So it's like, you also have to remember that. And me working that job provided me with, say, like the finances that I wanted at the time. But then the brand was just growing exponentially. And when I got made redundant, I spoke to Dee and we spoke to our business advisor, and she was like, well, your business is in a position to give this a red hot crack.
Nice.
And yeah, we both just kind of jumped in head first, and we haven't done it like erratically either. Like it's not like, you know, I'm quitting my job and I'm gonna, you know, me and Dee are gonna go full time with the podcast. Like we've had to do incremental changes and slowly do it and drip feed and it's a cool feeling. Like it is a cool feeling waking up every day knowing that you get to do what we love. But yeah, it comes with its stresses too.
I'm sure. And did you learn a lot? I think you also worked for A-League club, I forgot what it's called, and the VFL team as well.
Yeah.
Did that help with all
You've done your research. Bloody hell. I might check if you've looked at my LinkedIn profile.
I did that as well. I've also listened to heaps of the podcast, even before I reached out to you guys.
Yeah, mate, thank you. Well, my background is in sport. So sport's my biggest passion. That's what I love the most. And so I wanted to work in sport. So I did a sport management degree and, worked at Melbourne City, did a media internship. And then I ended up working in the VFL system for a long time for free as a teenager into my 20s. And then, finished my degree, got a job at St Kilda Footy Club and worked in the AFL for a little while. And then I saw, but then my background, my dad had a business in event management in the sports and entertainment industry. And there was an opportunity to go into my dad's business, and which was in sport, but in a different way. It was sales. So I was selling like experiences in sports entertainment and ticketing. And so I got to learn all this stuff we're doing now, which is like partnerships and networking. So I moved from like clubland to like business, and then moved into a totally different industry. I won't go there. And then that's where me and Dee were like, we both hate our jobs. Like we're so unhappy.
What was Dee doing at the time?
So
were you working with your dad at that
I
stage?
did for a while, not at that time. So I worked.
Come back, sorry.
Very, very similar. So my dad has an events business too. So he was actually literally a world famous speaker in motivation. So he was traveling the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
Before I was
didn't know
born.
that.
Yeah, motivational speaker.
And a bodybuilder.
Whoa.
A bodybuilder
What
prior to
happened?
that. I know. But he was, so he basically, off the back of his success as a speaker, this was back in the day before social media. So, to be a speaker, you'd have to be on TV, and he had documentaries made on him and all this sort of stuff.
Wow.
And then he exited that, met my mum. He ran a business similar to DOS, eventually from home as well, which was in events and sales. So I went and worked in that for 4 years. Ours was more B2B, or his still is, business to business. So, a lot of great connections, a lot of great insight into the operations of a business. And then I went overseas, went to uni, did a stupid degree. That was a waste of money.
Did you do
donation.
uni? Was this in England or?
No. So I went to Deakin University, not far from where we are now, and did sports science, which is a waste of money. But anyway, I did that. So donated to the uni, and then
I'd say the same with I went to Monash, and I don't say this to boast. One of the best accounting degrees. I could have learned most of that in a month.
Literally. And anyway, but yeah, without going too much into that. So then what happened was, while I was at uni, I just wanted a really simple, not a job that I didn't have to think. So I worked in a warehouse.
And why was that? Sorry.
Just because, the working with Dad was great, but I wanted to have more of a father-son relationship rather than it was almost like a business partner's relationship.
Yep.
I wanted that father-son kind of feeling, and we both agreed. So I just wanted a job that paid the bills. I was focused on uni at the time, and then eventually it crossed over in the DOS and D. And the one thing that I liked about working that warehouse job was, imagine going into a job where it's literally grey. You're just looking at grey everywhere. It's the most dull.
That sounds like my accounting career.
Well, that's the thing. But the thing is, when you're surrounded by that all day, you literally have got nothing to do but daydream. So I'd be listening to podcasts, and I'd just be in my own head. I'd read books every break I got. I'd be reading either self-help books, finance books, or business autobiographies.
Nice.
Dos and I would be chatting all day. Every day after work, we'd be on the phone, and we're like, there's got to be more to life than what we're currently doing. How can we create our own income stream? How can we, and then this was prior to the podcast. Eventually we built the podcast, and then, I would have been at that job for probably 3 more years, while in tandem with the podcast, but it was just a great place to scheme, how the hell do I get out of here? And then, and I just made a commitment to myself, and really what I always wanted, my goal was, because because people said you can go get a job you'd be more happy in, but I'm like, I don't want to go to just another, I don't want to just change my environment and get paid the same or slightly more. I really want to be self-sufficient. I want the business, and eventually we're able to do it.
Well, it's very inspirational. Like my friends are all 30 to 35 roughly, and no judgment, I get it. People need to live, earn money, all of that. And they are miserable. They hate their jobs. They're finance, accounting, lawyers, and yes, they might have a shitload of money in it, buying a few $1 million houses and all that stuff, which is great for them.
Yeah.
But there's like a part of them and they admit this, they're like, they hate it. They're miserable. So when you hear a story like you guys actually like doing it, and obviously there's challenges and we'll dive into a few more, it's very inspirational, especially for me. I love hearing that. And then, oh man, I've got so many questions. Both of your learnings, and we'll talk about both of your fathers and the impact that they've had on you. It's actually crazy. I don't know if you guys have like talked about this, or probably, but the skills that you learn from each thing has obviously
correct. And
also getting like sponsorship, because people don't think about that from a podcast side. So do you think like getting the sales, the hustle, dealing with the rejection, all of that has happened from, those experiences?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I also think that I was a big believer that it's important to try different things. So like trying, like not staying in a certain position for a long period of time. I mean, like you said, if people choose to do that, that's fine. That's great.
Yep.
But I don't know why I had this belief that there should be no shame in like, okay, I don't like this, I'm going to change and try something else.
Your belief or family belief?
No, I think it was probably mine. I think, again, I was a big self-help reader too and podcast listener. Probably like working in like sales, I remember a period of time I was working in a sales job and like getting, I was in the trade space or electrical industry, and it was the middle of COVID. I remember getting called names on the phone, but and that's just not my personality. Like I was not cut out for that industry. I don't have probably thick enough skin, and credit to anyone who does that. So that probably made me, I don't know, build some resilience, and when we now are having tough conversations with whether it's brands or partners or even talent, like it is what it is. I feel like we've been able to build like a pretty strong skill set.
Yeah, because normally people think you just pick up the mic, you click record, but forget about the cost, but the other skills that you've learned. So from the production company end, you mentioned that a lot of your time was also dealing with sponsors and hustling, getting them. Can you tell me a bit more about that? Because that's really interesting.
Yeah. So again, our thinking is we want this to be a sustainable long-term thing. So you can get quick overnight success and make a few bucks, but then is it sustainable? And for us, the way our business model has been is getting a deal here or a deal there isn't gonna, isn't in line with what our financial goals are too, and business goals. So for us, it was through a connection of Doss's, through his old work, that he was able to build a great relationship with a managing director of a big company that were able to get, and again, you feed into people's passion. He's a mad Richmond fan. We had Trent Cotchin coming on the podcast. We said, look, would you like to align your brand with Trent and a few others? And he gave us a few bucks for maybe 5 episodes. And then this is going back a few years. And then the big aha moment for us is, okay, we want brands to back us for Dos and D, not for, in this example, Trent Cotchin, or name any guest we've had on the show. Yep. So we wanted long-term relationships. Let's build it. That gave us our foot in the door. And now, we've got all these great brands we've worked with or are currently working with. And, we'll keep tinkering with our I suppose, the way we actually monetize our show. It changes over time. Things that paid the bills in the past, don't necessarily align anymore. The way the show's structured, the way that probably the audience that is there. So, for us, there's a lot of reach out, there's a lot of meetings, there's a lot of proposals sent, there's a lot of meetings in boardrooms where you go and pitch to a brand, and this is what it could be. And what we've done now is, essentially the simplest way to put it to anybody that's not in the industry is, and this is how I explain it, is we essentially sell advertising. We've got our podcast. We've got slots to fill on our podcast so we can sell advertising for. And then we've got social media, quite a lot of followers across our platforms, and we can sell advertising there too. And then on top of that, UGC is a big thing now in the world, user-generated content. Brands sometimes want to utilize our brand on our faces for us to create ads that will last for 3 to 6 months that they can push out on social media. They might want one-off activations. We've done MC work. We're just kind of we're just kind of starting to leverage or work out what our skill sets are. And we're getting more and more opportunities now. So I don't know if that answered your question, but hopefully in a roundabout way, it kind of gives people a peek behind the curtain of ways we kind of monetize what we do.
I think that's so unbelievably cool, but also the confidence to actually get up and pitch, because that's not a skill set that normally associated with just doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first few, and how did you guys deal with the nerves? Even preparing, did you have help from someone else? Or
Do you remember?
I don't remember the first one. What I do remember, and this was a big aha moment, I don't know if you remember this, but like we said, we've come from sales background, so we've done pitches before. We understand rejection. We've been through all of that stuff. We've had phones hung up on us and all that sort of stuff. But I think there was a big change when you're pitching for something you actually love and believe in. And this sounds so cliche, but at the end of the day, we believed in our brand. And initially our pitch was, again, being completely transparent, our pitch was, this is our dream. This is what we believe we can become. Help support our dream. It was almost like, this is a tax write-off for your business. But that's kind of what it was. And
is
then
it? Because there's an
advertising, and the smaller money that it was at the time, it was literally, that was kind of the pitch. It was literally going on relationships we had. And then when our audience grew, now our pitch is very different. These are how many people listen. This is how many people view. This is how many monthly impressions we get. So it's like, and this is why it's good for your brand. And now it's educating. What has changed in 5 years or 6 years that we've been doing this is, 6 years ago, you'd almost have to explain what a podcast was. Now there's still, it's a wrestle between traditional media. So for a big company that we're fortunate enough to work with a few, they've always put their advertising dollars in newspapers, TV and radio. Not so much newspapers anymore, but TV and radio are big ones. But if you look at the landscape and how it's shifting, is numbers that tune into radio and TV each day versus tune into independent media. It's the line is coming really, really quick and will soon overtake if it hasn't already. So the people that kind of get it at marketing level, they go, this makes total sense to us. Some of them, it's a bit more of an education piece, but we don't beg for our dinner. If people don't feel, if they don't feel aligned, or we don't feel aligned, or there's no interest,
like Mad Men, just walk out. Thanks for your time, guys.
Yeah, 100%.
And some brands just aren't there yet. Like some don't understand it either.
Well, that's really interesting, because I know a few years ago, I'm making this up, these numbers aren't correct. If you're a television show and you get 1 million views, that show is making a lot of money.
Yes.
A podcast getting 1 million views was pennies on the dollar.
True.
And I've got a friend, you might want to interview him. I'm sure you get that a lot. I hate that. Darren Levy does funny Uber rides, Melbourne content.
Yes. We've actually spoken to him online before. Yeah, not on the show though.
He was a groomsman at my
wow.
Lovely guy. And he was just saying how like he's extremely clever. He was just saying like that they're just so far behind, but it's going to change, and when it changes, it's going to be a massive shift.
Yes.
So you guys are very clever. And I love that you're both into self-help, because a lot of people, I know when I was younger, like, oh, what are you doing that for? Like, you're a loser. But, listening a little bit to your story, that was something you're really passionate about. And sometimes, as young men, when you want to do something, you might just want to do it your way. But the fact that you guys got an advisor, I think that's really interesting. Has it always been like, whatever's best for the brand and us? Like, are you able to put your maybe egos to the side and do it for the highest good of the brand?
Well, the advisor thing probably wasn't even in our sites at all until like 6 months ago. That was kind of not forced upon us, but the opportunity was put in front of us, and we kind of said yes without real like conviction. Like we were like, oh, maybe it could help us.
Yeah. We always wanted a coach of some description, but we didn't have the money really.
No. Well, that was the main thing. It was like, okay, well, if it's going to cost a lot of money, or but once we sat in the first session, it was kind of confronting, but for the best of reasons, because you sit in front of we sat in front of our consultant, and she just basically stripped the whole business back. We whiteboarded the whole business, like where everything from A to Z, what is going on inside the business, and then where do we go from here, and how do we get to this goal? And then now we sit down with her every 2 weeks and basically, you know, a bit of accountability and updating them on what's going on in the business. But yeah, like I think when you talk about the self-help and personal development stuff, like me and Dee are always trying to, we're probably not into the self-help as much anymore like that.
That's
like
normally you do so much.
Yeah.
Smash it out,
Yeah.
get out of your system.
Like I couldn't tell you, oh God, I used to love self-help podcasts. Like Lewis Howe's The School of Greatness.
Yeah.
That was my favorite podcast for years. Helped me through some really dark times. You know, that was my car radio, like driving to uni every day. That's what I listened to. And then you would read some books as well. But then I'm also an overthinker. So what I've come to learn over the last few years is like sometimes consuming too much of that can actually be a bit like
I agree.
Confusing for my brain because I'm like, oh, well, what should I do?
And also you can't digest it if you've got too many voices as well because there's just too much information overload. But yeah. So
I think we've been able to utilize the skills and the learnings that we've taken from like those years of, you know, and we were young, in our early 20s. Like we're just going through, we're trying to.
It's still pretty young.
Yeah, you're kind of, yeah, you're like.
No, I mean even now, but yeah.
Yeah, you're going through like a really early stage in your life and you're finding your way and you're feeling confused on what you want to do. And so that's probably where the self-help really helped us. But then now I think our self-help is leaning, or education is leaning more to like, how can we be better salespeople? How can we be better, networkers? How can we be better interviewers or things like that? Our education and training ourselves is like moving in different areas. How can we be better managers? Like we're now even managing staff. So it's like,
oh, that's awesome.
Okay, how can we be better in those areas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. But also the accountability side and fear. Sometimes, you know, with an advisor, for example, they could say, this is not working. And I'm sure you don't want to hear some certain things. A lot of people can run away and go, oh, she's this, and this, all negative words. But you guys actually like, it resonated with you where you're like, you know, we're going to give this a go. Have you always had that in you being like, we're going to put that ego to the side?
I think the first time we posted a podcast, your ego gets put to the side pretty quick. We still tell people don't go listen to the first 50 or 100 pods, a bit average. But I think like for us I think we did a lot of things probably in content spaces, especially when you have no audience. You're so desperate to find an audience that you'll overshare things that we might go, maybe we don't necessarily need to go that rogue anymore, or this video, we've got this extreme punishment for one of us to try and get viewers and captivate people in. So that's one area I think of vulnerability. You let go of that because people ask me all the time, oh, why did you say this? Or I go, I don't really care anymore. You know, we get, you know, if you read our TikTok comments each day, you know, we're not necessarily the most popular people on planet Earth. So,
it'd be like one in like your content's great,
we're mostly positive, but you get a lot of people that don't like it, which is fine. But that's the world. So you know, if you can't take, and especially in the early days when people don't know who you are and you haven't had big guests and you're getting the same comments each day about, you know, the content you're putting up. That's one piece. But then again, stripping back our own, we've had to do massive. You strip back ego when you take a massive paycheck to, you know, pay cut to go and chase your dreams. Essentially, that's an ego. You know, when you're trying to, you have to go and report back to your family or your friends, and you know you can't necessarily do everything because you've got this long-term vision that they can't quite comprehend or understand or see yet. And then within each other, I mean, I think we're pretty we know each other inside out. And part of that chat that Dos mentioned earlier with our advisor, they said you have to go, before you even come into this meeting, we went to the beach and did this really long walk up and down the beach. And it was literally, you have to actually put down take Dos and D aside and the business, tell each other your own personal goals, where you want to be living in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, get a better understanding, because you got to find out what aligns, and if it doesn't align, you got to work out where the compromise will be. So we've had to go and do that personally prior to even going into this advisory thing.
Yep.
So we could come into that thing on the same page and get an understanding. And it's not like going to be this big mic drop going, oh, one of us is going to go live overseas in 2 years and the whole thing's going to fall apart. Getting a better understanding for each other too, personally.
I love that because that's just great advice. Even I haven't done this with a friend, but you know, a wife, a partner or whatever, that's just such amazing advice because you guys have got similar goals, but maybe one of you go to UK, maybe one of you want to go to America. And I heard in previous podcasts that you guys have always been big on goal setting and writing. Maybe it was you that wrote down your goals. Yeah. Where did that come from?
Goal setting's probably just been, I've probably learnt that from my dad. Like he was real, he had like a mission statement. he always set like
For himself or the
yeah,
business?
for himself.
Oh, wow.
And then he had a big diary that he would always refer to every year, and you'd put in your mission statement, and the mission statement would stay in there, and then you would change the goals in it every year. And so I probably learnt goal setting from him.
You know that I've spoken, forget about the podcast, just people in life. I've never heard of this concept until like
Really?
the last.
Goal setting?
No, goal
Yeah.
setting, obviously. But when I was growing up as
Yeah.
a teen or at school, it wasn't really any.
Yeah.
What do you want to get as a VCE score? It wasn't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
5 years, 10 years. It wasn't that long term.
Yeah.
Never a conversation.
And I love goals, especially from a business point of view, and personal too. But I also have learnt to not get hung up on it either, because like, yeah, I think I said it before, but I am a bit of a worrier, and I think too much into the future, and I've had to really learn to like just be happy now.
Yep.
And so there needs to be a really good balance of like, okay, these are our goals, fantastic, but if we don't hit them, that's all right at the same time, because our goals are pretty big too. Like we've got some pretty massive goals.
Do you want to share them, or is it between you guys?
Well, you can share.
Well,
You don't have to.
what
What
are,
do you want to keep to yourself? What do you want
well,
to?
you go. You can
Oh,
share.
well, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it
Yeah.
for now.
I get it.
But
Sometimes.
what I wish I had, I was just listening to Dos talking, and I don't know where I'm racking my brains where we saw it. Only I reckon this week or last week we found this old photo of a whiteboard after we recorded like our first or second pod.
Yep.
And we had goals before we even came up with the name Dos and D, which isn't the most creative name ever anyway. But we actually had goals then. But we had this whiteboard, and we actually saw it. Where did we see it? There was a photo.
Well, I've got a photo on my phone.
Yeah, so maybe it was off your phone. But there's like this of all our goals when we started. They're so different to how they are now.
That's great, the evolution. And
Yeah, it just shows how our mindset was then versus now. But I think one thing we've learnt with goal setting too, and our advisor would come in straight away and she'd say, well, whatever it is, 10x it or whatever, stop thinking small. But you actually have to, I'm a big believer, and you have to set big goals too. Like, I think what I used to do, or we used to do actually, would hold ourselves back, because there'd be this kind of blurry line between, well, you don't want to be seen that you want to make money, but we're like, well, that's an important thing. Like that
it holds you back, keeps you
correct.
kind of,
So it's like,
even subconsciously as well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't set a goal, sorry for interjecting.
no.
If you set a goal where, I'll give you an example with me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a goal, I just wanted to get a TV show. I spoke to you briefly
Yep.
about it. I've written a lot of scripts, so if anyone wants to buy them, let's work together. They're full of integrity. And I was like, I want to have, like a popular sitcom. I was like, I want to have like the third best sitcom. He's like, why wouldn't you aim to have the biggest sitcom? Because I don't think of being the biggest
Yes.
and the best. And he's like, you're only holding yourself back. I'm like, and it really changed my worldview, because if you set for like number 5, you might not get number 5, you might get number 10.
Yeah.
But just try to be the best that you can be. I was already setting a goal and not even allowing for the highest potential of it. And so if you're setting a goal from a subconscious level, how do I phrase this? You're just not setting yourself up to fully succeed if you're holding yourself back
Correct.
a little bit. But
yeah. Well, and the other thing too is when you shoot humongously big and you fall short,
Yeah.
and you often get further than you would have got if you actually stayed back in the
Exactly.
first place. And that's the thing. I wish, it's funny, every time we do this and we reflect straight away, like even just listening to Dos speak then, I'm just thinking, fuck, like we should literally be, like, we've done so many cool things even in the last month, and we're not celebrating them, and we're still in this continued rush and pressure, and it's like we don't, it's only when you're sitting on a plane and you're literally just stuck there sitting and you got no internet and you can't work and you can't do anything that you go, oh wow, that was pretty cool. And then the next day comes around.
Last night, me and my partner, we were just laying in bed, and we were just like asking each other questions. She asked me a question. She was like, what was the last thing you were most proud of? And I actually it wasn't a quick response. It was actually something that took me like probably 30 seconds. And then I thought, going to America, that was the thing I was probably like, I'm proud of everything I've done, but like instantly when Dee said that, my mind went to when I was on the plane and I could see the Hollywood sign out the window.
Nice.
And I was like, yes, we're not there to go to Hollywood. But when I saw that, and I was like, holy shit.
you just
Like,
kicked in.
we're going over there. We're interviewing all these different people, but a person I've like dreamt of chatting with as a kid.
Do you want to name the name? So
Well, Kurt Angle was the one, and he was like a wrestler that I loved growing up, and just such a huge name. And you get to travel America for a couple of weeks and getting paid for it, as in the trip's paid for.
Yep.
And we get to create some cool content, hang out with my mate,
So cool.
and you know, it's just crazy. So yeah, it like Dee said, but it is hard it is very difficult to look back and celebrate it because it's a business, like because we're looking at it as like a business lens, and you're looking at the numbers, and because the interviewing is one small part of it, or creating the content is one small part of it. We probably need to not get better, but it is important to still just
sit back and celebrate.
Yeah.
That resonates with me, and I'm pretty proud of this, but this just happened not last week, the week before. Did you guys ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah, great show.
So I had the creator, the showrunner of it, and he's just done a tour in Australia, and he also has Netflix. I think it's the longest running Netflix show. It's a food travel show called Somebody Feed Phil.
Right.
It's become very popular off that. And he did a show at Palais Theatre. And through the podcast, you talk about going to Hobart and you see Matthew Wayde. Through the podcast, I was his moderator. I would have never imagined being in front of 4,000 people, just me and one of my comedy icons.
That's insane.
But
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
But going back to what you guys were saying, like that, because it's just so fast paced, then you're onto another podcast. It's hard to just sit back and go. But if you guys sat down for half an hour, you'd have at least 50 things. And that's just from the podcast. I don't know about the other side. Just all these things, but we don't really allow ourselves. So that's something that I need to sit down with myself or my wife and just go, this happened, let's enjoy. Even if it's going out for coffee or something.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's been a big challenge for me. In terms of, I've been thinking about this as well, because I've had a few collaborating people and they haven't worked out, not in a bad way. People have go in different directions. One wants to go back into like business. One wanted to go in a different direction. These things happen. And an issue, I wouldn't say an issue, a challenge for me is growing together. But you guys seem to have mastered this as well. How do you guys keep yourselves accountable and keep those goals so that you're growing in a similar direction?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
hard
know if
question.
mastered's the right word. I don't think we've mastered it, but I think what helps us, and again, you just learn. Like we now have which sounds ridiculous, and I mean, anyone that listens to our show and listening to us chat about this stuff, it's probably a huge shock. But like each Monday, the first thing we do on a Monday morning, we have what's our agenda meeting where we go through. This is so businessy, but like through the entire
really
business.
Interesting.
But that actually keeps you week in and week out pretty accountable. So you look at everything from content and views and what's working and what's not working to everything we've already touched on. We don't need to touch on it all again, but all the salesy stuff and who's in your pipeline, and then how are the staff going? Are we getting the most out of them? Can we do better? How are we managing them? I think that's helped us. We didn't have that for a long time. So I think it's funny. We haven't really had to keep each other accountable. The one thing we've probably been really fortunate with is our only promise to ourselves when we started was that every Monday morning at 6 a.m. a new episode goes out. And for 6 years or over 6 years, we've achieved that.
Oh, every single
holy one, whether it's Christmas Day or whatever. So
I forgot which one's the clap, but that's it.
But that was the thing, and that was.
Should I just pick a random one?
Oh, go for it.
This is you continue.
It's funny. We've got a roadcaster. We've never used the buttons.
I don't reckon
We
it's that
can't
one.
hear it though.
Actually, it might be that one. It might be the top right. I'll go top right. That pink one. It's not a boo, is it?
Oh, you couldn't hear
We
that.
don't have
Oh my God, that was Borat going, whoa.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's even better. But
just as a side point, I had Azamat, the Borat number one, him and that other guy. I had him on, and anyway,
that's
amazing.
incredible. But yeah, so the thing was in those, like when we were working other jobs, we never missed. So every week an episode would go up.
That is such a crazy achievement. I don't think people understand. Just doing anything in life once a week, that's amazing.
Well, the hard thing was
Probably never actually acknowledged that. ever.
No, but at the time, and this is what people don't understand, we would have had less than 100 listeners easily for a long time, for probably two of those years, or maybe between 100 and 200, not many. Regardless, was like it's like we just had this weird thing that if there's 100 people that actually tune in each and every week, and this is their Monday morning thing, you kind of owe it to them to make sure that. And you don't want to
saying integrity with you.
Yeah,
guys. Like
but also, on a more selfish, you don't want to give away that real estate. As soon as you give that away, and they go, "Oh, let me try this other thing," that can overtake them if it's a better product, which it probably was back then. So, but the point I'm trying to make with that is, I was doing the audio editing. Dos was doing the shorts for a while. I was doing the YouTube as well. Dos did a bit of the YouTube. So like, we just made it work so that we get the content. Now we have a team that are able to take over that sort of stuff. But
nice.
But at the time you'd work, I can remember many phone calls where it's midnight on the Sunday going into the Monday, and we're waiting for like there was all like we've been through all of that stuff you can imagine where fibers have corrupted. This is corrupted. This has gone wrong. That's gone wrong. And really, in the grand scheme of things, you look back and go, it probably wouldn't have hurt us. But I think if the second you stop doing that, then one becomes two becomes three, and then suddenly it's like, well, now we're this, we're a bit flimsy. Like it may go up and may not go up, and now we're kind of okay with it being mediocre. So I think those habits that we set early, and although we didn't have to yell at each other and go, where's this, where's that, we kind of just had this self-accountability. I didn't want to let Dos down. I'm sure Dos didn't want to let myself down. Nice. And then internally, we didn't want to let anyone else down. So, yeah, it's probably a weird way to think about it. But I often think about the fact that we kept those habits early helped us in the long term.
Agreed. But you must have such a strong, because I'm sure you know this, if you've already done over 10 podcasts, you're like killing it, because most people don't get past 10. I'm sure, then 300 plus is crazy. What is that like? Why? Is it just, can you see your goals? You don't need to say them, but can you just see what you want so clearly? Because you're going to have moments of burnout when you're doing something to push something out at 6 a.m. Do it every week. You must have such a strong why. And on top of that, I'll let the other one think, how have you been able to deal with burnout and just the stress of it?
Yeah, probably the biggest driver and motivator is we're almost delusional in how much we believe in our vision, I think.
Nice.
I don't want to say we're not delusional, but some people might have thought we were over the years, and you would have people kind of going, what is this thing? Or like, what's next for you guys? Or like not people that don't quite see it or understand it.
You mean next as in like, oh, when are you going to get a real job type thing?
Yeah, but that's only because they just see it as like, that's not a real job. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not real. Like, it's not an actual thing. Yeah. But because we understand the industry, and we're not just a podcast, we're a whole media ecosystem, it's like people from afar, that's all they see is just the talent on the couch, and we interview them, and that's it. Whereas like there's so
Wouldn't
much.
That be nice?
Yeah, exactly.
100K an episode.
Yeah. So I think we've just we have so much conviction in where we're going, what we're doing. That's probably kept us super motivated and
pretty measurable too. What we do, like you can see, again, part of what we do each week. We see how many followers we've gone up in a week, or you check downloads. You can see, like you can actually see it growing. So I think that helps a lot too.
It does, but still, doing something every week, like you might go to gym. People skip gym sometimes.
Yeah.
I meditate every morning, and I know if I barely miss, but you have to be very strong on that. That's very rare. Like I've spoken to a lot of people. That's not every week all the time as well. How have you been able to deal with the burnout and the stress?
The burnout's tough. The burnout's really, really tough. We've both dealt with that. I know we've dealt with it. It's really, really tough because there's physical burnout, which is one thing. Like you do physically feel it sometimes, and sometimes and then you definitely feel it mentally too. And I used to feel it a lot more back in the day when, there was a heavier workload on especially the editing. And you got to remember too, we're editing to all our clients as well. So you're editing without being, hopefully none of them hear this, but you're listening to a podcast which is very finance based or something. It's the same thing. And it's very hard. And you're editing for ums and ahs and little things. It's difficult. And there's a lot of hours that you're sitting at a computer and there's no financial return yet.
Fatigue as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's all that's where you really feel it. And physically, I've got sick a couple of times, because I felt like the workload was just, it's kind of decreased now because it's not like we're working stupid hours on weekends or working through the night.
Team as well now.
Yeah, and you're not exactly got your team, and also you're not got other jobs you're trying to balance too, and like there's a lot of that stuff too. But I think you can also burn out with that constant drive and chase, and like you said, if you're not celebrating and to your point earlier, I think what also motivates you is you see how many people give up as well. And you also get a bet once. Yeah, it's weird. It's like there's just micro wins almost every day. It might be a new opportunity for a brand to work with you, or you get that yes from that big guest, or you get a video that blows up, or you get that message that somebody writes. It's so sincere that which is incredible. So yeah, it's a hard one. What do you think?
Yeah, but the burnout, I don't think. I think the burnout. I haven't actually felt burnt out because I feel like I've been. I don't know. I've been able to balance like other things in my life to like probably keep me. And Dee would be the first to admit this. Like, this is so important to us, but I've like got other things in my life. Dee does too, but for so long, it's all we did. Like we only did that, and I feel like when we lived together, and then when we kind of moved, and we were just in that real grind hustle. I remember that's probably the moment I felt like the most like, oh, nothing's working, like nothing's happening. I was living on the Gold Coast. Dee was living in Melbourne. We would fly, any money we made, Dee would fly to the Gold Coast. We would record 4 episodes. I would then fly to Melbourne. We'd record 4 episodes. Like, we were still doing the show in person, even though we weren't even living in the same state together.
Yeah, I love that hustle.
We didn't even admit, like, that comes back to the not missing an episode every week for 6 years. Like, that was the extreme. Like, we weren't even living in the same state. So there was a moment I remember around that time where I had, like, not doubts, but I was like, I don't know if we can do this. Like, we're just chewing through any money we have on just making the thing keep running. The audience isn't growing. Like, the following isn't doing anything. You get a win here and there, but then I think, because we just had that that mission that we said to ourselves at the very beginning, is that we'll just keep uploading it. And there's a quote, I've said it a few times. Seth Rogen, he said it on the Diary of CEO. He just says, if you don't give up, you just might make it. And he laughed, and his classic laugh. Yeah. But he was like, people don't make it because they stop.
Yep.
You know? And I feel like we could have given up so many times throughout the whole thing, but we want it. We really want it.
It also feels real now. Like we were starting to monetize it like probably 2 years ago, and we starting to build the audience, but now it just especially in the last 6 months, something just feels really different. It's like
like an energy. Like
it's more just like, I don't know how to explain this. It's like, and this sounds like a real weird thing to do. You get recognized a lot more out in public or whatever. Like, it happens a lot, and it's like, okay, well, now you're known for this. When you meet somebody for so many years, you say, "What do you do?" And you say, "Oh, I'm a podcaster," and they go, "Yeah, whatever." And then you actually have to explain to them, and then it's versus like now it's a flick of a button and everything looks legit. Like, people they see following, and they see the people it's been on and the quality of the content, and they go, "Oh, well, it's kind of legit." And you're getting, it's like, you shouldn't be looking for external validation, but when there are other factors that now, when you're not just reaching out to brands day in and day out, and now they're coming to you, or you're getting offered to, actually getting paid to fly interstate and do things, or I could go on and on and on, but this is all in the last sort of 6 months where it feels really, really legit.
Sounds like, I know you're always in alignment, but just the alignment, you're there, just things are coming for you.
And I think because we're more aligned, like, we're both in it full time, like, it makes sense. Like, it makes sense, things are happening when you're both putting your time and energy into it.
I know there's so many wins, but just, I looked earlier, going to Tasmania, Hobart to interview Matthew Wayde at the stadium.
Yes.
Just like, that is just, what a wonderful achievement.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thanks, mate.
I've got even more questions on this. We wanted the podcast, and you sort of alluded to it now, and I think this also goes down to your why and why you keep continuing. You mentioned, I think episodes like 20 to 30 wasn't the best, and I think you knew it in the moment, or maybe afterwards. Sometimes we can allow fear to come in, or we can be like, oh, this isn't that great, but you still kept on continuing. And you can also be quite embarrassed as well sometimes. Like, I know there's something that I've said which either stupid, or you say things in the moment. It's just, natural human things. We're being recorded, we're going to say stupid things. What was those conversations like when you realize maybe it hasn't been the best conversation, but you still got this goal? What helped there?
Gosh. Oh, I think of a few episodes and I cringe, like, just thinking about what I said, or
or natural.
opinions I had about certain things.
Yeah, we all grown up. I listened to earlier ones.
Yeah.
I don't think that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't want someone to do a newspaper article and be like, this person
Correct.
thinks that.
Yeah, that is probably one of my biggest fears is one day someone going and finding an old piece of content and them latching on it and making that.
I think people are smarter now with that stuff. It is a fear of mine. I validate your fear, but people change a lot.
I've been actually called out a lot recently on some old clips. Yeah, but that's
really?
That's more of a different story. But yeah,
I pigeonhole that out.
I think in the moment you don't think it's cringe, so it's so I'm not thinking about the content at the time, going, oh, why did I say that? It's more later on as we've evolved, like the show has evolved. I think if someone's listened to our show from the very beginning to now, it is like very different, like super different. We're the same as people and interviewers. We've gotten much better at it. The content itself looks better, but the show itself has changed a lot. It's had, a couple of changes over the years. Like we went through, you go through different stages, and we went through multiple different stages. But
any you want to gloss over?
Well, we went through a stage of like at the very beginning, it was Dee and I chatting about just our own personal development journeys. Like we were very, we were sharing like things that we agreed on, and we were both going through probably a time in our life where we were trying to improve and get better, and so we were sharing things we were consuming. So it was like, okay, we're reading books, we're listening to podcasts. Let's share what we think about that advice. What we wish we knew when we were a bit younger, or, coming out of high school, or about career or money, whatever it is. As a couple of 25-year-olds, we were just like sharing our opinions on these things. And then we started interviewing some people in the local community. And that's where we got a taste for interviewing. And we were like, oh, interviewing's much better than us just kind of talking. We ran out of shit to talk about, to be honest. like we were like, well, how much more self-development can we do? And we probably didn't feel comfortable enough to be our idiot selves yet.
Yep.
Which is now part of our show. We have twice a month we have Dos and D Uncut, which is just us two. But yeah, we started interviewing people. So then the show evolved from like us to then interviews with local business people and stuff. Then we moved in together, and then we did some Zoom interviews. So it evolved into like a bit of Zoom, and then we ended up evolving into like purely just I guess a entertainment show. Yeah,
I think the other thing too, and maybe what you're alluding to, Michael, is like we did some interviews. I don't want to name them because it would be disrespectful, but we've done some interviews that we wouldn't do now, and it's not because they're not people of high profile. Some not super high profile, but it's more the topics, the conversation, and at the time it helped. Blows up your TikTok, and you go, oh wow, people are listening now because it's a conversation. Now we'd go. It's by no means am I saying we're above it. It just doesn't align with the vision that we're kind of going with now. So I think taking those kind of topics, it's not that we're anti them by any stretch. It's more just, it's just not who we are anymore. It's like it felt maybe a bit lowbrow, to be honest, like a bit lowbrow, a bit easy, a bit cheap, a bit, these are very clickbaity, it'll blow up because of the topic versus, all right, is it, value is definitely not the word because our show's entertainment focused, but it's just not the direction we'd go in now.
I love that because a lot of the time, like that's accountability, that's growth, that's having a discussion together, realizing what's working and not working. That's very mature because it's very easy. I know we're just spoken about long-term game. Very easy to be like, oh, that topic we don't even believe in. Let's talk about it because it's got a lot more views. That's why I mentioned integrity. That's also really rare because we do see people just want clickbait. You guys don't do this, which is I've noticed over the years. You don't clip people out of context. No. And, we're in a world where you could get someone just to say something out of context and you can get a lot of views. You're very generous while trying to do a really good quality reel or whatever.
I must say as well, we're the opposite now. We actually don't upload like quick clips. Like it's not 20 seconds. We upload like 2-minute clips now because it's like we're actually putting videos up that share the whole story that they're explaining. It's not like 10 seconds, bang, that's going to make people listen. No, we actually upload like big chunks of our podcasts, like
that's smart
on Instagram for free. Like people some people might not even listen because they literally probably watch enough of the clips to get an understanding of what it's about, some of the stories. Yeah.
And then you're showing your guest in a good light as well, because you could be the
That's
guest
important.
to be like, oh, and I did this and I went to jail, and then you end it. But
Yeah.
you don't realize that maybe they didn't go to jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and I know you'd feel the same but we saw this early days, and this is something we're really passionate about. We had people doing similar things, and they'd get their big first or second big name guest, and then do exactly what you said, clip him out of context or put him in a poor light. We will continue this until the day we stop doing it, but it's we ask every guest what's off limits. And
nice.
And if they say something, we've never pushed it ever, not once. We've also and occasionally there's been a couple guests that have come in and they've said the one big hot topic that we knew would be the big selling point. They've said I'd rather not talk about that. It's happened twice in the last year, and we've both said, "Damn it," but we're not going to. We won't. Yeah. And there's been a couple guests lately that have said, "Hey, happy with everything I said, but hey, I'd rather you not clip that because I know it'll blow up and I don't need it." So because the thing is, as soon as you get that reputation,
I was just about to say.
if you have if you had Hughes in here, you come in, you clip him out of context, and you want to go after his mate, and he goes, "What's Michael like?" He goes, "Mate, wouldn't go there."
And people actually do all talk.
100% they do.
I only found out. I think that. I'll just say it. But there's and I get it. It's there's a female comedy group to which talks about to empower everyone, which is amazing. Yeah. And then I think there is an aspect of if there's creeps or not safe people, which is important in this day and age. And I didn't realize that they'd spoken about me in a positive light.
Good.
And through that, I was able to get a lot of other guests, and I didn't even know it existed. But it's things like that. And I know through your connections, which we'll talk about as well, people do talk. You don't get past a certain amount of podcasts.
No.
And you get a reputation. You see, even if a guest collaborates, that's speaking volume of all the content. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
and that's really important for a long-term outlook.
It's the what can I get today? I can get this big blown up clip, and I might get hundreds of thousands or millions of views, and that's great. Or which has been frustrating when you're building in a long period of time. Let's play the slow game because it will lead to a bigger thing. And we could tell you stories for days about how that's. How continually that's shown itself. We've had guests that come on and asked us not to clip anything. It was the most frustrating thing ever.
Oh, not to clip anything?
Yeah, which was really frustrating. But
don't tell me the person.
I'll tell you off, But what I can say is by doing that, which was so incredibly painful at the time, what it led to afterwards, and was one of the biggest things for us because they opened the door to 3 or 4 ones we couldn't get through social media or whatever.
It was a connection. It was almost like having someone on the show because we were genuinely interested.
Sorry. A little closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry.
No, all good.
Having someone on the show we were genuinely interested in and super pumped to talk to because of their influence in sport and media and stuff. And then they didn't want to clip any of it, which fair enough. I understand why he didn't want to, but we didn't know, like what Dee said, we didn't know what the relationship was going to then develop into.
But if we had clipped, that relationship would have been gone, and what would have happened from there, we just wouldn't have got what we ended up getting. So
good on you guys.
So we speak volumes of that because we've seen that, and we've also seen from afar other creators that have gone and burnt someone, and we've seen the negative effect it's had on them.
That's really important. I want to talk about also the connections with your father as well. I had one guest and he didn't want to do video for whatever reason, completely respected. And then when we started the interview, he turned it off and I said, can we just, so I can see you and read you because this is online. And he's like, nah, you're going to put it online. I go, I promise you, I'm putting this, I swear, I will not put it up. And he goes, I've been burnt before. And I'm like, I promise you I won't do it. And I never clipped it and he was so appreciative. But imagine also on their end, I get it as well. When you hit a certain level of fame, you're taken out of context. There's a risk on their end as well. So as we all know, we want to be respectful for the guests that have given us their time as well. But also imagine being the other person when they're like, you cannot use the video and they go, I don't care, I'm going to do it. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't.
You're not going to do it for,
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen other creators, like Dee said, and I get it. It's really easy to go, oh, who cares? Right now, it's all dopamine. It's I want the views. There's an opportunity there. We've had guests say things on the podcast which we could have reused and reopened a can of worms because something else is in the media and we could have jumped on it, and we just choose not to because
we also don't want to grow. And I'll say this again, but from the integrity side, everything we said, but you also don't want to just grow via like just the hit topics of the week.
No, 100%. Well, one thing too, just quickly, then we can move on. But one thing that did happen too once was overnight. I'll never forget. We had a guest on, really pretty well known person. We'll tell you off air, and it's still in the podcast what he said. But we clipped it up. We didn't think anything of it. We put it online, put it on at night time. Woke up the next day, completely blew up. Papers picked up on it too. The video was just flying, like just rapidly flying. But what was basically it could have opened a defamation case for the person he was speaking about. So we had to really rapidly, again, we could have just let it fly because we would have just at that time we're raking in views and everything. But we just like, no, we have to take it down because we got to protect. There was no malicious intent. I promise you. It was like he was just speaking his mind, and he probably, if he had his time again, he probably would have gone, oh, maybe I just whatever.
Like a small aspect of it.
Yeah, it was just an old story he was sharing, but we just tried to protect it as best we can. But that's just that's something we just believe in that so heavily because if you came in like this is what we've always said, if Husey comes in here, does your pod, and you do the wrong thing, because we had him after you, he could have said, well, why I've just been burnt here, why would I do you guys? So it's like we all have to sort of protect each other in a way,
I was telling you guys off air, like, because I had one podcast, I had like a rival, which I wasn't a rival. He thought that we were a rival, but I always thought that if you grow and you succeed, it's good for podcasts. Might not impact me at all. But podcasts are still relatively new. So many people we know don't know what a podcast is, or still, like you guys grow is good for me. And vice versa, I'd love to promote you guys. I think that's great. It's it's really important. I forget why I was bringing this up, but he was very like challenged, and he tried to compete with me, but that was his why. And whereas I'm not thinking about it, I'm like, go and compete with like Joe Rogan. Go and aim bigger. Don't aim so small. But it didn't work out for him, or maybe fortunately, maybe it wasn't what he meant to do.
Yeah.
But I forget how we got into this, but I want to tie up a few points. You mentioned your father and your father as well. You can go as deep as you want. I think these are really crucial challenges. That's the best way of putting it. But I think they were very informative for who you guys are, talking about integrity, your goals and all of that. Maybe I'll start with you as well. Unfortunately, you lost your father. You had an amazing business. I was wondering if you can tell me a little bit about how that shaped you.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. So my old man, in a nutshell, was just a people person. So people, would remember him being, well, one, a successful business person, but two, just his business was all about connecting people. So, from a young age, that's where I learnt my love of sport. So he was a very musical person. He grew up in like a family band. So he was one of 5 siblings. His mum and dad both played in an old time band. And as kids, they just learnt musical instruments from a young age. And then all the siblings got into a band as they grew older. It was called Custerson and Co. And my dad became like the band manager, like back when he was like 16. So they would all go and play, and he would organise the gigs. And so from a very young age, he was a real leader, and it was always in events and like organising and then that's obviously flowed into, he worked into multiple different industries, but he was in the music industry all his life, or a big chunk of his life. But he worked in the electrical industry as a sales rep, and he had a dream of like wanting to do something. And so he had this passion for music. So he started this like, almost like a Battle of the Bands. He did these Battle of the Bands events, and it was like imagine like School of Rock, like Battle of the Bands. Yeah. He would organise these events, and that was his start in events. And then he built some connections, and it slowly trickled into sport, and he just built this unbelievable reputation. I find it hard to talk about my dad sometimes because he was such an amazing person. Not like emotionally, but just like it's hard to put into words like who he was.
I'll also add on to that from what I've heard as well. I think he had a very strong reputation in what he did as well, and he was very well loved and received in the later business. I forgot what it's called, and it's pretty amazing to hear the impact that someone had. And I know you also kind of transitioned a little bit into it and also helped with contacts, but it's really nice to know that someone has had such a good impact on people. And then through that impact has also helped you guys also growing the podcast as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we grew up together. He knew my dad inside and out as well.
Nice.
We had a lot of good memories, and I miss him. I miss him every day, and I know he'd be wrapped for us and proud of us, and we fuck mate, we're having a crack, and I know that's what he would love. Yeah,
and you can go as deep as you want. We can pivot. Is it also nice knowing that he's also been able to help you guys grow as well, like whether it's through contacts or what he's taught you? Yeah.
Sometimes I feel a little bit guilty, like, and I do sometimes think, I wonder if he would be like, like he never put pressure on me or anything like that, but he was big on me, like working in the sports space, and
you're kind of doing that, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah. I am. Sometimes you go, oh, we're utilizing some of his connections or this and that, but then, like, I don't know why I have that feeling sometimes, but I know that his phone's there. He's built this reputation, and I've utilized a couple of connections because he built such strong relations. But at the same time, that was early days. Like,
sorry,
that's okay.
My dog's gonna run in as well.
That's absolutely okay.
I also really believe we've built a lot off our own back too.
Yeah. Oh no, the reason I bring it up is one, I think it's like phenomenal that a parent can help where they want to, even if he's not here. But two, I know that there was a conversation that you guys may have had or you had about like, do I take these contacts? And I think that's like an ethical conversation that you have. I personally am a huge believer. Sometimes we're like, we have to do everything by ourselves and make it so hard. And I build it up from the ground. But I've learned now asking for help, getting help in a high integrity way. I think that's crucial. We do kind of have a mentality we have to do it all by ourselves. This is my dog Barney. He'll come and say
Barney.
Hi. Then he'll leave.
Hey,
so I think I don't have an opinion on it, but I love that you thought about it and you utilized it in a high integrity way. And I know I said the word integrity a lot. That's one of my highest values, and not everyone has that. So I think it's great how you went about it and all
Thank
of
you.
that.
Yeah.
And you also had some challenges. You can go as deep as you want as well. I believe that there was some financial. Okay, go Barney.
He's okay.
There were also some financial issues with your family, and you kind of had to really grow and step up at a young age as well. You can give as much context as you want.
Where did you hear this, by the way? Was this on our show? Or maybe this is great.
This is amazing.
This is great research.
Sometimes it's either the interviews that you guys have done, or I don't know which one.
And I say that only because I don't remember the 300 conversations we've had too. So I'm like, did we say something?
I rember we've talked about. I remember talking about it once.
Yeah, we might have.
I pick up on
You're
these.
Very
things,
well researched, Michael. No, we basically. Just the nature of running your own business. So my mum and I need to do this more. I don't give my mum enough credit. We always talk about our dads. We don't talk about our mums, and I think we talk about our dads purely because we're in that sort of similar line of work. So it's you're following that path. But both our mums are incredibly supportive. My mum's never missed an episode, not one of our pods. I wish there was a couple she didn't listen to, but she's listened to every single one. She's listened to every radio interview. She'll listen to this podcast. She's listened to everything we ever do. So incredibly grateful for that. And with Dad, so she was a stay-at-home mum. Dad gave her that option when she fell pregnant with me. I'm the eldest, and then just the nature of running a business. Hard times at GFC somewhere in there. We basically, my parents ended up splitting up, and to put it all in a nutshell, to make it quite amicable and easy for us all, I bought the family home, and that kind of goes into sort of why I work certain jobs at certain times, like including that warehouse. I was, you got this mortgage as a 19-year-old, so
that's tough.
So Dad and I were really, well, we still are, but like at that time we're very close because we're working in business, we're living together, and now you're kind of paying a mortgage together. And anyway, we got out of that situation, which was good. But it's like you get to see, you see tough times, which we definitely reap the rewards of good times as well. Like we're never without. So we were able to have our family holidays and things like that for some of the years, and sometimes you have lean years too. So. That's probably what we kind of went through. as a family. Not that I think it really affected me overly too much.
I'm sure you can go as deep as you want.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility at such a young age. So it would have like shaped you. You would have had to mature maybe a lot quicker. As
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
It's obviously taught you some really valuable skills as well.
100%.
As well.
Yeah, well, you just learn off your parents. So like Dos said, like I see, it's funny. I'm sure Dos would say the same thing about me, but I can see sometimes the way Dos talks or the expressions on his face, I could see in his dad.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I do the exact same thing with my dad and our mums too. So, because you're living and you're learning off them. So, and I think because we had where it's benefited us more than anything is because we both had that similar understanding. Our friendship goes back to when we were, I think, 14 years old. So
Same school.
Same school. Dos moved across to our school when we were in year 8. So
He was a bit of a rebel.
No, well, I wasn't a great student.
Not in a bad way, but
I know you left school a bit early. Was that to help out with the family?
No. I was just, I hated school. I was a terrible student.
Can I also say, like, when Dee went through all of that too, like, I didn't find that out till like later on in life. So Dee did all of that on his own without saying anything, and
was that to process or just literally one day
Like,
at a time?
it's amazing what he did.
I just
Yeah.
honestly, I'm just not. I don't know. Maybe just my mentality. I hate sympathy. I hate it so much. Like for myself, not for other people, but for myself. So, and I never thought it's necessarily that deep. You know, if that makes sense. Like it's just a situation. You do what you do, and it wasn't like, you know, I'm not going to cry like it was, because I don't remember thinking, oh, poor me, or this is really tough. Like there was moments of frustration, but it really, in the grand scheme of things, and what I was saying is because of how our paths have aligned, it helps with all these things. It actually helps you manage money better. It helps you, you learn lessons. You go, oh, I never want to experience that again, so we need to ensure the future by X, Y, Z. So
that's what I was alluding to. Both of your takeaways going through massive challenges is really inspiring. I know this is a hard question to answer and it could be a bit like morbid. Going through, because you don't wish these experiences upon anyone as well, just hearing each other speak about these challenges, is it kind of crazy to see the growth and the positivity, because you probably weren't even thinking, obviously, when you're going through it, what you would reap some of the rewards. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Well, for me, going through...
Is more, I apologise if I misspoke or anything.
Oh, no, mate. No. Don't be silly. For me, so losing my dad at a young age, so I was 21, and like going through the period of it, like the whole situation was very not nice.
Yep.
Seeing someone, you know, so close to you and getting sick and all of that, and going through that whole process, and it just sucks. But what it's taught me is like I can handle anything. Like that's genuinely what it's taught me and my family, my sisters, my mum.
Nice together, yeah.
Yeah, like often say it all the time. Like I'm a real worrier for the future. Like I like to plan. I like to goal set. Like I like to be in control. That's probably my biggest flaw is like I need certainty all the time, and that just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But my mum has always just said to us, like, if you can get through that, you'll get through anything. And we just always say that to ourselves. If I'm going through something, or my sister is, or like, that's what we literally say to each other. And it just fills me with like a lot of calmness. And I'm going, you know what? I've got like, there's nothing to worry about. Like there's nothing to worry about. And that's transitioned into what we're doing. Like, because like, it's not that complex. Like it's not that, like life isn't that complex. Do things that you enjoy doing. Yes, we need to make sure that we're being somewhat responsible because, you know, you might have kids, finances, things like that. Like you need to do the right thing. But in terms of what we're doing, like that whole challenge, that whole like grueling, like going through that period, you still feel it every day. It's made me kind of go like, what am I meant to just like sit on my knees and like just not do anything about it, or like I've got it. I said it before. Actually, what my dad used to always say as well is he was on the bus of life. So like he did things. He jumped at opportunities. Didn't, you know, if he could financially do it, he would do it. He would help a lot of people financially. Like he was a real giving person. So get on the bus, like, because life, like if you don't like get on the bus is going to pass, And
Bus of living?
Yeah, the bus of life, we call it.
You also have another family motto.
Inch by inch?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate, well done. Seriously, well done.
Incredible research.
Yeah, like inch by inch, that's another thing that my dad taught us. Inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. And that was a quote we always lived by. And that's what I live by every day, like, because you only have today. And you just got to, it's hard not to get emotional.
I will say while you're saying that, like, I don't wish that upon anyone, but to hear, just a small aspect of your story, I find it both of you, very inspiring and empowering. And also the lessons, you could just be a victim, and I'm sure you go through that probably a lot, or different periods. I know that you've had a lot of help as well along the way, but to still just get on that bus, especially when you go through something like that, it's an inspiration for everyone. Thanks, I love it.
Appreciate it.
And what about you?
Look, it's probably hard to comprehend. I mean, I again, like I said, probably the part of the story I left out before was, when I did own that house, or the reason we had to pivot quickly was because we nearly lost my dad too. He got really, really sick. And then you had to make a decision, because if Dad didn't survive, I just wasn't going to be able to pay off we're splitting this mortgage basically. So, so you have to make a really rapid decision when someone's so close to his life's on the line too, and it looked really like it was, not going in the right direction. So that's probably when the biggest stress or weight of the world feels on you. But outside of that, like, I still think very fortunate, like what happened to Dos, and we've got a close, our schoolmates, we have a group of 5 of us, and 3 out of those 5 have already lost one of their parents.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, and I'm one of 2 that hasn't. So, I'm very fortunate, very, very fortunate in that regard. For us, what I'm really proud about with us and Dos and D is, the only thing that I feel is different to a lot of people is we haven't come from, we didn't come from money, and we didn't come from a background of playing professional sport or TV or something. We've grown it completely from scratch with absolutely nothing, no followers, except our close friends and family. We had no money other than everything we've kind of put in ourselves, or then gone and created. So that sort of thing, that's what I'm really proud of. But I always think about this. I'm like, what's the alternative? And I was telling Dos about this. I'm sure you're all over this. And I've heard it so many times, but I only saw it recently. It's really famous with Jim Carrey. I know he's spoken about this a lot, but he talks about his dad. He always says his dad's the funniest person he ever knew. And he says that, his dad's dream was to be a comedian, but he was too scared. And instead he took the safe option and became an accountant, which I'm sure you feel, you can relate. So, and then he said,
so don't bring me back there.
PTSD.
But it's just so interesting to hear him say. He's like, well, his dad didn't chase a dream, and he believes he's funnier than what we'd consider one of the funniest comedians of all time. And then on top of that, the accounting thing the safe option fell through, and they went broke anyway. So he goes, you can still fail at the safe option. So it's like, I always think, what's the alternative? The alternative is, yes, I can imagine going and taking that, pay that big paycheck. Again, go back to our goals. Our goal is we're going to have a big paycheck in the future, and the money stress won't even be there. But, you can go and take that big paycheck now, but if you're doing it all day, I'd just be dreaming about, what are we missing out on now? What are the things we're saying no to? What are the things we can't do? I'm so personally, I just love what we get the opportunity to do. And sometimes I feel, when I really reflect and I get existential, I feel guilty, because it's not like we're doing anything for the greater good of the world. But
I disagree.
But it's like you feel like sometimes you're like, are we doing all this just for ourselves almost? But
so there's nothing wrong with that. Sorry for interjecting. One, just as you said, when you had 100 people just listening to you, maybe they're going through something, or maybe just a laugh, or that's something that I've gone through. It's tiny. That's how you change the world. I know it sounds like ridiculous. Us podcasters change the world, but sometimes like a small thing plants a seed in a build.
Correct.
It's not just like saving the world from whatever the next.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we felt way more impactful when we stopped going on about personal development and we started telling stories that actually create a distraction. Yep. And it's funny because you get a few, and I noticed this week. So the Colin Mockery, which we put out last week, for us, we don't have a big YouTube viewership, but it just blew up. like for us to get that amount of views
Nice.
is amazing. So, but there were so many comments, and so many of the comments talked about people, how his show, Whose Line Is It Anyway, was such a distraction that got him through the darkest depressions or the hardest moments. And at the end of the day, it's just that momentary bit of distraction.
Yeah, just not thinking about something.
Exactly right. So, and sometimes we're lucky enough to receive similar messages where people are struggling, and you just get to take their mind off things for an hour. So that's kind of the positive thing. But yeah, you're always weighing up those two thoughts in your head.
I agree, but I think by you guys pursuing your passion and doing it in the most best way for yourselves, full of integrity, said that 100 times, maybe we get a ding each time I said the word. But when you do it in that way, your highest passion with love and, collaboration, and you're doing it for the right reasons, that is fine. That trickles down to everyone else. And I
appreciate that.
Yeah. I think
Thank you.
really important.
Thank you.
Also, Colin Mockra, you'll remember his story better than mine. I haven't had him on for a while. But he only, inverted commas, made it. Was it 40s or 50s?
Yep.
And
we talk about this all the time. We talk about one of our favourite singers, John
Farnham.
Farnham, 38.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Breaks
And my
through.
sister said that to me a couple of months ago. She said, we've had a few little moments, good moments in the media and things like that at the moment. And
especially the footy show.
yeah, and Taylor, my older sister Taylor, she said, John Farnham didn't make it till he was 38.
Wow.
And, not that I don't want to feel like we're on this
Yeah.
we're waiting. I don't want us to say that we're waiting for this make it moment either, because we've made it now.
Yeah.
That's a key thing too, is even if we become Joe Rogan, or if we're happy with just the level that we're at the moment, we've still done so much and achieved so much. And
And how old was your old man when his business started properly working?
well, my old man, my mum said that to me recently. My dad had 3 kids.
Wow.
All under the age of probably 5, or maybe 6, and he was working a part-time job, in marketing and sales, and then he was playing in the band on Saturday and Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and he was building his events business on the side of that. He was doing 3 things while raising kids, and here I am, fucking,
doing great.
so. But to Dee's question, his business didn't probably actually really evolve into probably his ultimate dream till he was probably in his late 40s, 50s.
Oh, wow.
He was doing what he loved throughout all that, but, it probably hit its peak in his late 40s, mid to late 40s.
I think we need to, after school, get that, which I don't agree with, get that uni degree.
Yeah.
We do that job and we're set. We can talk about this another time, but it's not how the world works. While you were talking about that, I had a lady on called Bronnie Ware, and she did the top 5 regrets of the dying. She wrote that book. It's an international best-selling book. And she interviewed, I used to talk about this a lot. I think Limo actually told me about this. But she was a palliative care nurse, and she would interview people before they would die about what their regrets were. And so many of the regrets, or I think the number one regret was, I wish I lived the life that I wanted to live, not the life I thought others wanted me to live.
Yes.
You guys are, living and breathing that, because we think we have to be someone else to do something else. And yeah, get her on the pod as well.
Yeah, I need to read that book too. Yeah.
I listen to a lot of books. That's one of the books that I actually read, and it's an amazing book. She's transformed so many people's lives. I reckon what we'll do to wrap up the podcast is do a quick rapid fire segment.
Let's do it.
We will maybe do one, because one person's always going to go first. So maybe it's one, it will be you, then you, and then you, and then you.
Okay.
Yeah, do you understand what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? Oh, yeah.
Yep. So 1, 2, 2, 1.
Yeah.
You understand?
We'll figure it out.
So I answer the question first and you answer it?
And then
the
me-
next question
Yeah,
you
yeah.
answer
Yeah,
first
gotcha,
and I
gotcha.
answer it.
You think I could
I'm a bit
spit fire.
slower than Dee.
No, I explained that like a 3-year-old. We'll do some general. My wife helped me just with some more basic ones. Dream guest.
Robbie Williams.
Ricky Gervais.
Worst thing that's happened to you during a podcast or with a client.
There's been a few. Early days, we did a recording at my mum's house. I chose to do it outside with a guest, our first guest, mind you, and it stopped recording because we were in the sun, and I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't tell Dee, I didn't tell the guest, and I just pretended that it was fine, and it wasn't.
I saw the face turn white, pale white, and biggest. It was England we went over. We went over to do a few episodes in England. They're not necessarily huge household names, but for us to be able to, it was a holiday, and we took our mics. Basically, is what happened. But we got this interview. We recorded an incredible hour with this guy, and then he left the place. We all shook hands, and at the time, we should get back to this. At the time, every time a guest left, we'd do this big hug and get it all excited. And I went in to give Doss this hug, and he looked like he was going to cry. I'm like, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "It's all gone." And we clicked play, and we got, "Welcome everybody to the Doss and D show." Nothing.
Oh, that's the worst.
And then we spend a lot of money on recover it type programs, and thankfully it turned out.
So it was corrupted.
Somehow, I don't know. This was when we used to record on. We didn't have this fancy equipment. We had GarageBand on a laptop that was a bit old, and it was. You could barely interview because you'd be watching to make sure it still record. It was horrible. But anyway, that's another story.
Oh my God, I've got a few. I know it's a rapid fire segment. I had to ask a guest to come back. That's the worst.
We've done that
We've
too.
done that too.
We've done that too.
We've done that twice.
It's horrible.
I was about to I was telling you about John Safran. He was one of the first, and the audio was just so corrupted. I hired and you're making no money. It's expensive. And these people are expensive, as you know, to get a proper audio technician. 2 people couldn't fix it. One of my friends, he's just like a robot, a genius. He spent, I think, maybe 8 hours Googling Reddit, every forum you can think of. He got it to work.
No way.
He came over at lunchtime. I thought it would only take a few hours or it wouldn't work, and then I give up, and I thought that was a sign I'm never going to do the podcast again. I can't get John Safran in again. I was like, I've got dinner plans. I need to go. Do you want to join? He goes, no, I want to figure it out. I then came back a couple of hours later. He had finished it and was watching a movie with my parents.
Wow, that's incredible. What a story.
But they're the worst. I had to get another lady come back in. Any regrets?
In terms of the show, or in terms
whatever springs to mind, both.
No, I'm a pretty regret-free person, but I will give you a funny answer because I touched on it in the podcast. I got called out. I went on, met a woman not too long ago just for a little date, and she came in loaded with questions from her housemate.
I thought you meant loaded like a lot.
Oh, no.
Marry that woman.
I wish. She came in pretty fired up because her housemate knew about Doss and D and had some very old 5+ year old videos saved of us that are still on TikTok. I probably should delete them. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but let's just say my views have changed since then, and that's my regret.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, also, why would this lady want to go on a date with you just to berate you?
I think she wanted to shit test me, but it all turned out in the end.
Okay. Congratulations.
I don't know if I regret this, but when we brought uni up before, it really made me go, I wish I didn't do uni. I don't regret it because I did a whole degree and I was the first one out of all my cousins to get a degree. But and the first one in my family, but it's not serving me anymore. So I do somewhat regret, I wish I just jumped into work, to be honest.
I know it's rapid fire, but I've been thinking about this. As I said, I got the Monash degree, and I don't believe that you need social proof, but that has actually served me so well getting that Monash piece of paper. People don't think I'm a dumbass pursuing all of this stuff. But also just knowing that you did that, even I don't look back at that degree and go, I learned this, or that. It's just sometimes like a personal accomplishment. And even if you didn't like the course, I'm like, oh, that's just something I did. But I used to be like, why did I go to uni and waste my life? I learned a lot from the people, or how bad the lecturers were, the teachers, how disgraceful some of it was. One of my first accounting shoots, a rat was running up the wall, get onto the roof, and then just you hear a thud and it would drop on the floor and just keep on going.
Wow.
I'm just like, this is at Monash University. People think that this is a good look, maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Well, we know Monash Uni will never be a sponsor.
And it gave me purpose through that shitty time too.
Exactly.
It gave me somewhere to go every day. It's just more I regret knowing how much money I'm still paying on that thing.
Think about that.
I get it. Wait, 1, 2. What lights you up?
What lights me up? Spending time with my family, my partner, my dog.
What dog do you have?
Wheaton Terrier.
I don't know.
His name's Noodle.
Noodle.
Looks like a Groodle, but he's not.
So it looks similar to...
He's a bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, bit bigger. And I love to laugh. So anything that makes me laugh. So spending time with my mates. Typically it's with D, and a few of our other mates that he mentioned earlier. And then watching comedy. I love watching comedy, and I love sport. So I love watching. I go for the Bulldogs. So in the AFL.
Oh, nice. I will ask you that. What sitcoms or movies make you laugh? What are your go-to?
What makes me laugh? I love Friends. That's been our family show, like forever. I've always loved Hamish and Andy Gap Year. I always go back to it. Can't go wrong with The Office. I found The Office through D and our other mate Jai. UK. And then I love anything like Ricky Gervais stand up. To be honest, I love anything like that.
You can also answer the sitcom question, but what lights you
I'll
up?
start with the sitcom question. Very similar. My dad's English, so a lot of English comedy. So The Office, big Steve Coogan fan. So Alan Partridge is a big one. There's a lot of shows that a lot of people listen
Only
to.
Fools?
Only Fools and Horses. Some people never have heard of that. That's a really old one, but
I never watched it.
very, very funny. What lights me up? I think the biggest thing that lights me up is my dog. Funny enough, I've got a Doberman. His name's Danger.
I like that.
Yeah, named after Paddy Dangerfield. I don't know why, but I did that.
And who do you go for?
I don't have a team, which is funny. Yeah.
You don't have an AFL team?
No. I used to be a Saints fan,
Not
but
anymore.
I really don't have a team.
You
But
don't like footy as much?
no, I do love footy. I haven't watched it very much this year. Sport lights me up. Playing sport, I coach sport. I love that.
Did you played AFL? Did you also? Not AFL, footy.
Footy.
Yeah,
I played
he
footy.
played a lot longer than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So playing and watching, I enjoy that. So yeah, sport lights me up. Music lights me up. But yeah, my dog, and of course, family and friends and Dawson D. But my dog lights me up every day, which is a bit weird. But yeah, pride and joy.
That's a great way, great answer. Have you guys ever watched Peep Show? That's my favorite.
Never
British.
watched. I know the show.
Oh please, no one knows this show, Peep Show.
What's his name? The main actor.
There's two of them. I've already forgotten.
Because he was on Last One Laughing, just recent season.
He's on all the. If it's
Okay.
the one I'm thinking of, he's
on
all of the
something 8 out of 9 cats or something.
Yeah,
he's on that.
Dave,
Someone like that. Yeah.
Dave,
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, hilarious.
Yes.
I'll watch out because I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, me
I
too.
trust
I-
you. I'm a big Simpsons fan
Huge.
too. So
I
yeah.
love. I grew
I
up.
could
Simpsons
quote
probably.
the first 12 seasons.
Oh,
I've got
that's
you covered.
great.
Yeah.
There were a few bits where I'm not sure. I also had the voice of Millhouse on the show.
Oh, wow.
And she's done a doco, which is an amazing doco. I'm going to actually email her today about if she would do it here. And her life story is crazy, and apparently I'm in it. But, talk about the experiences from the
Pretty
podcast.
awesome.
Wow.
Congrats.
Everyone in The Simpsons is amazing. I've had a few more, but okay. I've got so many. I'll
Keep going. It's
Keep
all right.
going. We
It's
love
okay.
it. We love it.
You're very kind. Biggest pet peeve.
Oh, that's so good.
We share these on the show from time to time.
Okay, biggest pet peeve. First thing, grammar. When people don't understand there, really, and there. Really annoys me. 2, 2, and 2. That really pees me off. Slow walkers, I can't stand it. / slow drivers, like I just common sense on the road. Really, yeah. But the walking one really annoys me when you, I'm getting a bit heated now.
Yeah,
But when
slow
people
walkers.
walking 3 or 4 abreast and you can't get past them and you have to startle somebody.
Yep.
No.
We're on the same page.
Loud chewers.
Oh,
Yeah. And then I'm not the
Noise.
just noise in general irritates me, Michael. If I'm out in public or I actually find myself I get irritable very easy. So if it's noise, someone's playing their phone out loud, not with headphones on,
that's like common courtesy.
like that just that drives me insane.
Okay. What would you do? Oh no, what would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Oof, that's a good question. What would I do if I couldn't fail at it? I'd probably want to be a rock star, to be honest.
Can you sing, play music?
Not really. I play a bit of guitar, and my family come from a musical family, but a very casual guitar player.
He must be amazing.
I'm not
Pretty good.
No, he's good with music too. I reckon that's what I would want to do. That would have been like a dream. I reckon whenever I'm listening to music, watching, that's one of our
We spoke about doing a bit of a cover band for
yeah,
people to laugh.
that is one of our passions together. Is we love old. We just have the same music taste.
Yep.
We would happily sit here and watch covers and live covers for hours together.
Nice.
But yeah, being playing in a band, being the front man or something, being able to sing, hold a crowd, I would love that.
Same.
I'd almost say the same. I think honestly, I wouldn't really change much. I just think, well, it sounds, I know it's boring, cliche, but doing what we're doing now, just 10x that. Yeah.
Nice. Any advice you want to give to people who want to try something different on you, whether it's a podcast or something else?
Definitely, the biggest one is you just have to start. Just start. It's horrible. It's hard as anything to release that first bit of content or whatever. It's cringe. It's tough. You feel the weight of everyone's judging you, but it gets easier every time. But the one thing people don't do is just people just don't start. You need to start. Be consistent too. But the main thing is just that very first step, just start, dive in.
And mine would be similar to that, but it's the struggle I've always had, like still to this day, but don't compare yourself. But I need to take my own advice there.
No,
Like comparing myself and ourselves, and not just in like business or the content space, social media. Like as much as social media is good for us, like it's bad. It's not good for me. Like I hate it because I get stuck. But even just life in general, like if someone's ahead of you, or like just stop comparing yourself. Like everyone's on their own trajectory. If you're going to start something, do it, but try not to compare yourself to the person that's been doing it for like 10 years.
Agreed. Good advice. How do you switch off?
How do I switch off? I don't mind a nice hot bath.
Same. I don't think I've ever had that. That's the best. Sorry, that's the best answer I'm ever going to have.
Yeah, I like it. I like a nice hot bath.
Yeah.
Let's go. I miss having a bath each night. What do I? It's bad. I'm a person that doesn't really switch off. I'm always like doing stuff. So yeah, I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, I know the answer.
Okay, baby. Okay, this will be the last question before I ask how people can follow you. What is the question I should have asked? Like, what should I have asked D?
Ooh.
And what should I have asked Dos? But from the other perspective.
What should you? I'm trying to think. What should you have asked Dos? Oh, I wish I wasn't going first. I really need to think about this.
I've got one.
You got one for me?
Yeah.
I would have told you to ask him, how does he look so tanned?
Well, I'm not tan right now. This is the palest I've been in a long time.
Is it?
But yeah,
I resonate with pale. So
it comes from a bottle is the answer, and I'm not afraid to share it.
what type of bottle? Want to give him a plug?
Well, they don't sponsor Dos and D either.
We need to get him on board, seriously.
Bondi Sands.
We need to get him on board.
I need to actually. I need a tan tonight. I actually do need to go tan tonight. So thank you for reminding me. The question to ask.
It could be anything you want to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I was very gentle.
It could be anything you want to tie up. Maybe we skimmed a point and close a point.
God, that's such a good question. I'm sorry. I'm stalling. You're gonna have to cut this.
Most of the time, people don't give me an answer when I ask about.
You can do it.
What would be the question I'd ask Dos?
While you're thinking, how can people follow you and keep up to date with you guys?
We're on all the socials. So Instagram, it's funny, like we're Dos and D _, so we didn't quite get Dos and D, so we had to put the underscore at the end.
Have you tried contacting the?
We haven't actually. We should do that.
Yeah, maybe we should go kick off whoever's got.
Yeah, egg their house.
I don't think we've even tried to change it. Someone might have got rid of it. I don't know. Same TikTok Dos and D, Facebook the Dos and D Show. But go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcast, type in Dos and D, and follow the actual podcast, and then YouTube you can watch the full thing. Which is pretty cool. And yeah, we appreciate anyone that tunes in or comes across, or we appreciate it.
And
have you thought of the question?
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
No.
I really want. I don't want to go. I'm trying to think what you would have to ask.
What's something interesting about me? Like
I'm trying to think of more. What's one of my favorite?
No,
I'm trying to think what my favorite story is. But obviously you don't want something that you're not going to want to share. So,
Don't stress.
School.
Just ask. We can't give you the answer, but just ask him what oysters means.
Oh, that's just wrong. No, I was hoping you wouldn't go there.
Do we just end on that?
No, we end on that. He doesn't like oysters.
I don't like oysters either. They're not great. No. Yeah, okay, so we're going to end it there.
Yeah, we're ending it there. Thank you, Michael.
Okay, thank you. You guys are very inspiring, empowering. I love this. This is probably the longest podcast I've done in a very long time.
So how good.
I appreciate
it.
Thank you for having us, Michael. Really appreciate it.
I love how Dos talks about his father's motto, get on the bus of life. It's a simple idea with a profound message. Life is short. Opportunities are constantly presenting themselves, often when we least expect them. And the challenge is having the courage to say yes to the ones that resonate. Both Dos and D have done exactly that. They took a chance on something different, backed themselves, put in the work, and embraced the unknown. The podcast was simply one decision, one yes, but what has followed has been extraordinary. It is a reminder that some of life's most rewarding experiences don't come from having all the answers. They come from getting on the bus and seeing where it takes you. So I'll leave you with this epic quote. If you say yes to life, life says yes to you. Tina Turner. Thank you for listening to the Funny and Failure podcast, exploring the deeper side of comedy and life.